Scorpio. Thanks for joining me. We are going to dive into your collective's frequency to see how you're going to be moving through this gateway of initiation that was entered with the full moon in Aquarius on the 19th, and will come to a culmination point as we prepare to enter that third gate of initiation that's all about wrapping up a very significant karmic cycle. It is actually getting on the other side of that wheel of fortune so we can move things on the upward trajectory, I have to say. And that will be culminating with the Pisces lunar eclipse. It's a partial lunar eclipse, and that will be going down on the 17th. It will also be eclipsing the north node of Aries. So it's tying back to the total solar eclipse that went down in Aries back on April 8th earlier this year. It's a really important point. It's going to highlight for us what's in need of transformation if we're truly to let go of the energy that's been weighing us down in the South Node and move on up into the energy of activating the destiny, transforming fate into destiny, which can only be done if you balance things out. So we do have Libra at the South Node. There's also an eclipse coming in with Libra as well. It's a solar eclipse. It's called the Ring of Fire, and that's going to go down on October 2nd. It is in the sign of Libra, and that ties back to March 25th when Libra had a lunar eclipse that came in. So you see the oppositional energies, the mirroring energies, and even the dates are mirroring. It's pretty wild. That Pisces full moon is going to be mirrored with the Libra Hunter moon that comes in on the 17th of October. So no eclipse action there, okay? So by the time we get to the middle of October, which will lead up to our fourth initiatory gateway. And that one is all about moving on up to the North Node of Destiny, but we're clearing things out right now. And that was very clear when I sat down to do your read. I got quite a few downloads for you. So before we drop into that, let me just say this is for any significant Scorpio placement, or if you have a prominent placement in the 8th house. Also, if you are a Taurus rising, you may find something here for you. So this whole thing got kicked off with the 3 gateways of initiation, with me being out on one of my walks and seeing 3 vultures circling overhead, and I got a download in around that. Now, vultures are very much in alignment with the energy of your house, the 8th house. They don't just speak of death, but they also speak of rebirth. They are the whole cycle of life. Actually, their medicine is quite sacred, I have to say. And it was interesting because I hadn't seen any vultures since that time. And right before I sat down for your read, I was looking out my window here and there was one vulture circling. And I was like, I can't believe it. So I thought that was quite significant here. I feel that this is really a time of you preparing for initiation. I feel like what's going on with you has super rooted spiritual overtones to it. I did get this piece about working with Tonglen. It's a Buddhist meditation, a Tibetan Buddhist meditation. Ooh, and there's the spiders starting to weave the web. Yes. I got this piece. Wow, so much coming through with your read. It's wild. Big old fat spider. Okay, so to free up the creativity, to not have your energy sort of tied up and bound to energies of the past that are really just holding you back into what you're meant to fully embody and step into now, you might want to work with the Tibetan Buddhist meditation known as Tonglen. And it's very simple. All you have to do is get yourself in a nice, peaceful space, focus on some deep breathing. And once you feel like you're really rooted and grounded and centered and open and connected, tapped in, you breathe in the suffering of whoever you're really finding yourself in conflict with, okay? Because when we look at the energy of conflict, we have to also start viewing it as a way to be bound to another. and in such a way be weighed down. So if you're facing a challenge with another person, or there's something really painful you're trying to transmute in your life, one of the quickest routes to transformation is actually to actively participate in the transformation of the energy. In fact, you're feeling this. You may be having people sort of directing a lot of energy your way just because they're focusing on you. Maybe they feel really angry towards you, or maybe they feel that you should have some kind of guilt that you're carrying because they're in place of grief. Whatever it may be, any energy that's projected is actually coming in at this time to sort of test your spiritual chops. Are you able to truly transmute that energy? Can you elevate it? Tonglen is a way to do this. So if you truly want to be an alchemist, this requires us to, head into some areas that also put us to a fire test of truth. Are we in integrity as well? And that means that when we do recognize that, ooh, I'm kind of picking up some anger, energy here. I'm picking up some envy energy here. I'm picking up some grief here. And maybe at times you're like, but this doesn't feel like it's mine. Where is this coming from? If you pick up any of these lower vibrational energies, understand that you're taking them in, okay, from what is being projected towards you, in order for you to not identify with it, but for you to transmute the energy through Tonglen, okay? And in doing so, it not only frees you, but it also frees the other. And ultimately, this is what we want, because this is what allows us to move forward free and clear, not obstructed by our past, and also in full agency of our creative power and how we use that. We can use it as a way to spring the lock and set ourselves free from self-imposed circumstances or prisons of the mind, or we can use it to really keep us trapped, right? So the next time you're thinking of somebody, all right, and maybe they are projecting at you, and you can go on that train and be like, you're projecting at me, and, get all riled up and activated by it and ensnared in it. Return to sender, return to sender, return to sender. Or you can go, wait a minute, this is an opportunity right here, right now for transformation. And I do feel, Scorpio, you need to take it to that place in order to make it through this gateway of transformation and initiation, coming up with that full moon in Pisces on the 17th of September. It's what's going to allow you to really elevate your whole life experience. That's how it's coming through. And I understand that you feel frustrated because you feel like other people have gotten to define the truth of who you are. But I did get this message that came in that said they justified protecting you from the truth, but really they were protecting themselves from the truth of who they are. Okay, so there may be people who felt like you couldn't handle certain truths, or they had to shield you from certain things. It's almost like in a very subtle kind of undermining way, they were not recognizing your strength, not recognizing the truth of who you are, not recognizing that you are fully capable of integrating the truth of an experience, of a situation, and that in fact you already knew the truth. In fact, you already saw the truth. You already knew what was going on. Just because you didn't speak to it doesn't mean that you didn't see what was going on, doesn't mean that you didn't recognize what the situation was in its reality. Okay, no matter what kind of glamour was put on it or what kind of words were spun, and it does have spin campaign kind of energy. Okay, all of that is irrelevant, because unless somebody can come forward with the truth honestly, there's no point in trying to extract it out of them. It's a pointless affair. 10 on the clock when that came in. Okay, so I feel like you just saw something, and once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. And the irony is that there's other people who knew what were going on, but they felt like they had to shield you from it or protect you from it, or you can't handle the truth. It's got that vibe, okay? But really, they were only protecting themselves from seeing the truth of who they are. And that will make a lot of sense down the road if it doesn't make sense right now, okay? As I also had the vulture come in, I just feel tempted to look here. Yes, 39, free from judgment, free to love, right? You don't need to take on anyone's judgments. And whatever somebody's truth of you is, it's based on subjectivity. It's not necessarily absolute truth. Okay, so this is about you really freeing yourself so that you can still love, because you might have taken on a little bit of bitterness from some of the experiences you've been through. And it was 11:11 on the clock when that came in. I do feel like it's time for you to align with love. It's time for you to transmute some heavy energy that you took on, and you're sort of like holding a place card for these energies. It's like you've taken on this burden. Some of you may feel like a need to fight for the underdog in certain situations. Some of you really feel a need to stand up and be an example of demonstrating strength, even against a lot of opposition, because maybe you were in a position like that in the past at one point where nobody stood up for you. Okay. It could also be that you see others going through stuff that they don't they don't have the foundation or the support in place to really help them weather that. And there's a lot that can come people's way when they're dealing with, a feeling of having a lot of heavy energy coming at them, a lot of judgment. Some people really can't take it, and there's a need for there to be more love and more kindness in the world. And I feel like this is the energy that you're really aligning with as you're moving through this cycle. You're recognizing the way that holding on to certain emotions, certain heaviness, it doesn't serve. It doesn't serve. It only makes you feel more trapped. It only makes you feel more stuck. I do feel like you've been actively working on transforming this. I also feel like something is getting kicked off here for you, because after I saw the vulture, I saw birds scattering everywhere. I saw birds scattering in oppositional directions. Some were heading north, some were heading south. I do feel like you're ready to move beyond what's held you up in the past. There may be some action you took recently to make that really clear that you were leaving something behind, that you were moving forward. There's buzz about it. There's buzz about it in the hive mind. People are talking about it. There's messages that are sort of spreading in the community, okay, about this transformation, about something you're choosing to leave behind. There's some that are actively trying to transform their own situations really rapidly in response, in accordance with that too. Almost like they're hoping to catch up with you or sync up with you in some way, right? The only way for them to really transform the situation, though, is for them to go through their own fire test of truth. They may not realize that. They may not realize that. And I think it's best that you do free yourself from energies where you know it's time to really move beyond them. If you've made decisions about this, through transmuting the emotional, energetic ties that still keep you kind of corded in. And Tonglen is a great way to do that. So just deep breathing and breathe in the suffering or the pain or the hatred of that person. Okay, this is true alchemical work here. It's not bibbity bobbity boo. This is true sorcery. This is what it really means to do alchemy work. Okay, you take that energy, you take it in, you breathe it, and you transmute it in your own body. You transmute hatred into love. You transmute anxiety into peace. You transmute judgment into acceptance. You transmute feeling trapped into freedom, okay? You transmute control into letting go. You transmute this energy. You feel it viscerally. You visualize the desired intent to create the mirror opposite. And then you breathe it out. You breathe it out into existence. And so when you're receiving energy that is coming your way, let's talk about spiritual attack. When you are receiving what you are interpreting as spiritual attack, it may just be projections from other people's emotional states that you are sensitive to because you're still too corded into them. They may not be throwing anything your way. It's that there's still this tie, and it's a tie that binds. And so if this person's feeling rage, and maybe they're feeling rage about you or what went down between you, you are feeling that rage come into your space. You may be thinking that they are directing something intentionally towards you. They're not. They're in their process. They don't know how to alchemize the energy. So the view of it is when you elevate the energy, you transmute it in such a way with Tonglen, it doesn't just free you from it, it also frees them. And this restores balance. This came in very strongly. And you can even do it on a global level if you really want to test your mettle, where you can think of the suffering on a worldwide level and you can take that in and you can transmute it and you can make it a thing of beauty. You can make it a thing of healing, visualizing it, sensing it, bringing all of your senses in, really building this vision of its mirror opposite, and then breathe it out. Sometimes I like to breathe out either focusing on breathing out through the navel, like using the life force energy through bringing it down the hara line to really use that life force energy to activate it. Okay, so this is work that you're being called to do. I know that's a big download coming in, opening for you with a channeled message, but it feels super important and it feels like what needed to come through for you. Okay, so we got bottom of the deck. Look at this. 37, focus on the light. You see what I'm saying? There's all these dreams that want to come to bloom for you. There's all these dreams that you can call in, and you can use your ability to visualize what you're calling into being to actually serve the greater collective. You have powers of transformation, but people often only look at your ability to transform through resting in the shadow, but actually you transmute the shadow into light. This is the gift of Scorpio, and you're really being called to work with this now. If you work with this, not only does it root your dreams into material reality, it also roots the dreams of many. And there's protection here. This is your protection. You don't need to throw anything back at anybody. You don't even need to engage with anybody on this level or prove a point. When you work on this level, you're automatically shielded because you already know how to transmute the energy. So this coming in, very important practice for you. It's foundational. Okay, so let's dive in here. I want to get an opening card to kind of symbolize the quest you're on, and then I'm just going to see what tarot I'm drawn to for you. The other signs I felt really certain ahead of time what tarot I wanted to bring in, but for you, I wasn't sure. I'm feeling really drawn to oracle cards, so I don't know if I'm going to stick with that. It's just an interesting energy. Your energy is hitting very different from other signs that have come in here. All right, so yes, look at this. Okay, so your quest is all about trusting yourself. And I do feel like there's a bit of journeying you're doing here as far as entering into that more sort of like mocking it up kind of realm where you're entering meditative space, you're working with visualization, you're connecting with nature. Some of you might have bloodlines where there's shamanistic roots, you know, you might be starting to tap into a little bit of that energy. You may have totems starting to come in for you too. I really encourage you that if you have animals that are showing up on your path repeatedly, whether in material reality or if you happen to be like scrolling online and you keep seeing pictures of this particular animal, you know, trust however it comes in. Do some research about those animals because they are coming in as guides to give you certain medicines to help you with this initiation that's up ahead. This is really about trusting your own instincts, your own intuition. I advise you not to seek advice from other people because what you're going through right now can only be gone through alone, and it's a deeply personal experience. So while you can share with others, they're never going to quite get it. They're never going to quite understand it. And there's also something about this is deeply personal to you. And there's even an intimacy with that. People often only think about the intimacy that occurs in relationship with others, but there's certain intimacy to have between you and spirit too. You know what I mean? There's certain things that are special just for you or have meaning just for you. So there is something about maybe keeping some things close to your heart where they can hold their full potency so they're not distorted. Interesting. I feel called to pull out this glow in the dark tarot here for you. All right. Yeah. So you are that light in the dark, Scorpio. You know how to transmute that energy. Ah, right. So we know that you're having to trust yourself here as you're moving ahead. So what you're doing may be really breaking you from the pack here. I like this bottom of the deck energy. We got the Empress right here. So this is you moving into that creative cycle. This is you learning the lessons of the four queens, the four elementals, and embodying them. You're about to head into a very creative cycle. There's a lot of abundance that wants to come in here for you. Yes, materially, but also spiritually. And you have learned what it takes to rise up out of the shadow. All right. So you need to prepare for this. I feel like this is the last little bit. It's energy that's holding on to you that you still feel courted into, I think, because you knew, you intuited, but you never got confirmation of your intuitions about situations. You never got confirmation on your judgment calls. You wish you would have gotten those confirmations from others. You know that others know what happened and that they're withholding that information. And that may be very frustrating for you, but it's not about that. You see, it's about you trusting yourself. Okay. You got to trust yourself on this. Things always have a way of surfacing when they're meant to. And I do got that you are going to get that confirmation, but you don't need it right now. Okay. This is all you need to focus on. Focus on what you're growing here. Focus on what you're visioning for your future. I see you doing something where you're really going to transform your appearance to reflect where you're at within yourself. Okay. And that may be a different way of you sort of showing up in the world. You might have been more prone to kind of um, base your aesthetic on different things in the past, like just what you thought, you know, looked cool or, you know, something that you felt spoke of your identity as far as like what kind of music you like to listen to. You know what I mean? But I feel like this is different. It's sort of like you want your outside to match your inside, how you feel inside. You get what I'm saying? You might be starting to look at this too. All right. I do feel like a glow up energy here. I feel like eating really healthy. I feel like paying a lot of attention to how you're being affected energetically by what you're engaging with. And yes, it looks good on you. It looks good on you. It looks like growth. So a lot of growth and growth materially too. Being in a place where you start to feel like, yes, I am supported. I'm seeing it. You know, my work is paying off. And this is beautiful, beautiful energy coming in there. Okay, so what is the potential nemesis on the path for Scorpio here? What is the potential nemesis on the path for Scorpio here as they move to move into that initiation, sabotage, self-sabotage, looking back at who, did you wrong, looking back at who was keeping things from you, looking back at who thought they could, kind of F around and find out, looking back at who tried to pull the wool over your eyes or thought they were tricking you. This kind of energy, it's like you can get roped into the need to sort of justify engaging in some kind of argument with these individuals, but these individuals wouldn't ever take accountability anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, this is a waste of time. It's only going to steal time from you as well, time that is best used to really focus on what you're creating right now, because I do feel like your creative powers are amplifying at this time. So pay attention to the thoughts you're holding. It's significant. What's your spiritual ally at this time? Moving forward, what is Scorpio's spiritual ally at this time and moving forward? If you pay attention to the losses, then you're never going to really be able to align your vision with all that's to be gained, okay? That's how it's coming through. This is actually blocking your powers of manifestation at this time, so you want to drop that. Your ally is about really kind of giving yourself the space, the energy to pull away from anything that you feel is coming at you in such a way that it distracts you from what you really know is important to you. This is about taking a stand for what's important to you. And I feel at this time, this really has to be about protecting your peace, because it did come in as a crossing energy. You see, there's all this growth that wants to happen in you. You know where you're going and what you need to do. There's so much that wants to come into fruition for you, but it really depends on you transmuting the energy that's been holding all this creative force back. And I feel like you just got to be aware of people who want to steal your time, your energy, your attention by stirring up drama, by making you feel like you have to defend yourself. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to defend any of your choices, okay? So this is about standing in your strength. And do pay attention here that those who are bringing this energy towards you, they're beneath you. They're not in this position that you're in. You've climbed up a particular mountain of doubt here. And you've earned your place here to have a different kind of perspective, a different kind of view in this situation. And I don't feel like you're going to let anybody steal this away from you, this growth that you've had by allowing them to pull you up. Ooh, what fell there? Oh, it's the turquoise bracelet. Where did it go? There it is. Interesting. It almost reminds me of those seeds to be planted, like the sunflower seed. You might want to work with turquoise a bit. You might want to work with silver as well, okay? Silver for warding. It's just coming in, right? It might help you with a little bit of your shielding. In fact, this might be something your ancestors have used quite a bit, okay? Turquoise. Turquoise and silver wants to come in for you. Silver, especially for shielding, all right? And with that, we got the King of Wands on the bottom of the deck here, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, okay? So you might have a lot of heat coming at you. You might have a lot of fire coming at you. You might have somebody who thinks they know better what's right for you than you do, okay? But I feel like you really need to stay in this position and trust yourself, okay? That's coming in. All right, well, it does look like there's oppositional energy here. So we'll look into that. What's the lay of the land for Scorpio as they move up to that Pisces full moon? You do have all this crossing energy, okay? So it's like you're trying to move ahead, and just as you get to a certain place of progression on your path, something comes to cross your position and hold you up here. And what I see here is somebody that wants to advance, wants to approach, could be a Pisces with this Knight of Cups coming in with the Hangman energy and the Eight of Cups, which is also Pisces energy, big Pisces energy here. So if you have a situation that is dealing with a Pisces or is dealing with a 12th house matter, in other words, it's something that's kind of been on a karmic loop for you, something that you've walked away from, but it just kind of keeps resurfacing. It keeps coming back again. This could also be somebody that you consider a hidden enemy, okay? Somebody that you learn betrayed you in some way. Maybe this is what you already know the truth about, and you're just not engaging with it because you don't need to sort of justify your choices about maybe you moved away from this person, you walked away from this person, you're not accepting any of their invitations to engage, you're not accepting any of their advancements, you're not accepting any of their messages. Again, I feel like this, with it coming and crossing, especially with this energy here, where you felt like something sneaky was happening, I would trust that, okay? And continue to maintain your boundaries, all right? I do feel like that is coming toward you. Yeah, there's something that is balancing out here with justice on the scene, right? This is a karmic matter. And I do feel also with this energy coming in, this could be any water sign energy as well, pretty strongly. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, doesn't have to be. It is your energy as well. You may, I'm noticing that the energy is moving in the opposite direction of the hangman, okay? So you may have left this energy behind and you're ready to move towards something new now, right? And you want to be free and clear of it. And whatever that is, whatever you're deciding to move toward, that is justice, okay? That's balance, Libra energy there. Bottom of the deck in relation to that. Oh, and I see right behind that is the King of Cups. Okay, so you could be a Scorpio that is heading in the direction that feels like, no, this is my balancing point here. This is the right direction for me. If you made that choice and you've been wondering about it, like, was that the right choice? Because I do see you kind of like questioning yourself in matters. It is, okay? This is victory. Really positive energy with that. Yeah, this is your Wheel of Fortune, okay? So there's a lot of energy here that's been transmuted already. It took you a while to resolve this. There was sort of a riddle you had to solve before you could arrive at Fraggle Rock, that sort of truth, and really understand what it meant to stand in that truth, to speak that truth, to deliver that truth. And I feel there's still some remnants of some stuff that you do have to like cut the cord with to truly allow this wheel to turn. But we do have some interesting energies here. This is Sagittarian energy, Ophiuchus energy specifically coming in there. A lot of your energy front and center with this Scorpio. Also Aquarius could be in the mix, or a Taurus or Leo. Okay. Yeah, this was the right call. There will be something to celebrate on the other side of this. There's healing too. So where you thought something eluded you, it didn't. All right, let's see what the beef is. What's the meat of this matter? Okay. What is the meat of this matter? There's something you had to walk away from here because you recognized it was holding you up. It was blocking you. It was keeping you stuck in a crossroads position, sort of like in a bardo space. It's like you weren't in the new cycle and you weren't in the old cycle. Okay. The meat of the matter is that you're going to hear from somebody. Okay. Page of Wands energy. They are going to reach out to you. This will necessitate an action on your part. Okay. So fire sign energy reaching out. This is quintessential Sagittarius energy. This could have something to do with the ninth house matter. It could be something related to resolving a spiritual matter, because there's a lot of that energy that came through. Okay, this could be somebody that you feel like a sense of like spiritual recognition with, you know what I mean? Soul recognition. There might be something of a deeper matter that needs to be ironed out with this person here. It's also possible that you could be dealing with a situation that will require you to travel, or this person may be requesting that. There may be something you need to take a sort of philosophical approach with here as well. I feel like there's an opportunity to open a road with this person. And in one hand, you got the world. So you're trying to think of the new world you want to bring into being, and you're sort of contemplating things, and you know there's some things that have to come to a close. If this world's to turn, okay, And on the other hand, you might be curious about what would it be like to see this as part of my world and opening up this road. So I do feel like this is sort of like the meat of the matter as you're moving through this cycle. There's a lot of communication here, okay? A lot of messages, a lot of back and forth. It may have been held up, but I see that it's going to start coming in pretty rapidly, especially now that we're moving out of that Mercury retrograde energy, okay? So this was held up for a while. It required this individual to walk away from something before they could even open up this line of communication. They got a lot of nerves around it, okay? They're very nervous about this communication. They got a lot of anxiety. So again, Tonglen, okay? Maybe you've been picking up on this anxiety. Tonglen, transmute it into peace, okay? Transmute it into calm. It will benefit you as well as them with this communication that's opening up here. I do see a lot back and forth, okay? It's an ongoing conversation. And even though it's fast moving, there's a lot of communication. I don't see actual like making a firm decision with it at that point. I feel like this will sort of play out over a period of a couple months. Okay. October will be an important time in regard to this as far as really solidifying, okay, what this is about and where do we go from here. Okay, let's see here. What are the consequences that you have to navigate in relation to any past actions you took, Scorpio? Because we all have our karmic load to carry, things we're transmuting here. Okay, we got this high priestess energy. So again, Piscean energy, right? There might be something you're dealing with on this level too, all right? Some deeply healing process. It also is like balancing out your shadow and light. I think of the Empress energy that came in for you earlier and pairing it with the High Priestess. It does remind me of the deep dive of Persephone. She goes into the underworld. She does that dance with Hades. She integrates her shadow. And then when she returns in the spring and she's back with Demeter, everything grows because Demeter is only happy. Mama's only happy when Persephone is by her side. So that's when everything comes to fruition. So I feel like you are on that same journey. I do feel like it's time for you really to integrate, find the balancing point here where you can hold the shadow and light in equal measure and you're in the center of it so you don't get swayed one way or the other. I think whatever is taking root here in your life at this time, it does have ties that go back to last spring, perhaps last April, all right, whenever there was that on the 8th, when there was the solar eclipse that occurred in Aries. Also March 25th, that was in spring as well, when we had the lunar eclipse with Libra, okay? So it's calling back to that time. There was something there where I do feel like you did the deep dive, but this is about you trusting your intuition, trusting your own guidance to your own self be true. All right. You just need to balance this out. There's still a little balancing to be done here. And there may be balancing to do with the High Priestess. Okay. Now, if you did feel something was thrown at you, it could be. Maybe somebody did, throw some magic around. It's possible. But again, the way to transmute it is the same. It doesn't require doing like elaborate workings or, getting in some magical battle. It really is that simple. As Tonglen, it does. It doesn't have to take, so much to transform lower vibrational energies when you master your own energy. Okay. There's a big karmic matter though, where there's a lot that's been hidden. And I do feel like stuff is going to surface around this, okay? And some of it may also be you recognizing ways that you tripped up or you got in your own way, or maybe a long time ago on your path. When you were just learning about alchemy, maybe you did some things and you didn't understand the full weight of the repercussions. And now you're kind of like looking at it in retrospect and you're like, I could see how some of these lessons I'm going through are teaching me about that, right? Yeah. I mean, those insights might come in very rapidly for you, and then it allows you to really cut through a lot of BS that gets you to just clear the brush out of your road and move forward here, okay? Very interesting energy. Yeah, you might have acted a little impulsively in the past with some of the shots that you called, because you felt really activated, and you're starting to really understand the power of not being activated to be able to be in that center balancing point. Okay. Interesting. Holding things in their equal measure. I feel like you're in this like recalibration phase. Not having too much shadow, not having too much light, right? But holding them both in balance, which is very Libran. I've always felt there was a lot of similarities between that Justice card and the High Priestess card as well. There's that similar kind of energy of holding that balance. So I do feel like there's something you're balancing out karmically here. And there may be things that, remain for you to balance out too. So Tonglen, okay? Because usually Tonglen comes through when you have your stuff you still need to clear as well. So pay mind to that. The more you work with this, the faster you'll clear it out. The more free you'll feel. Watch how it elevates your energy and how it starts to increase positive things manifesting in your life, all right? What is the power for Scorpio to gain through self-mastery? What's the power for Scorpio to gain through self-mastery in doing this work? What is the power for Scorpio to gain? Look at that. Ships coming in. And 9 of Pentacles. Look at that. That's pre-Empress energy. So yes, we're on the right track with this, okay? This is turning fallow fields into fields of gold. This is opening up the way. This is you being in that place of true growth, everything growing from you, your creativity growing, your intuition and your empowerment in your own connection to spirit growing. This is doing the alchemy work. This is getting beyond anything that happened to you in the past, any insecurities. This is confidence. This is seeing material reward, because we know that wherever we're at internally, it inevitably gets reflected in our outer reality. All of reality is just a mirror. It's just a mirror. And yes, sometimes we come with karmic reflections into this life, things that we must face in that mirror in order to integrate them and transcend them. That's a lot of the stuff that our trauma is informed by, right? But there's something you're really transmuting here, and it looks good. I see you in a really good place financially. You're not going to have to worry materially. This is coming in for a lot of the signs, okay? So I do feel like you're going to be able to afford yourself a little bit more luxury. You're going to be able to enjoy your life a little bit more. I think you've worked hard for it, and this is some kind of reward coming in. But the true reward, it's how you're feeling about yourself here. I think it's really beautiful, but it absolutely will be reflected in your material reality, right? So that's the power to be gained, to transmute what used to be the leaden stuff that weighed you down, and that kept you in a place of lack on every level, mind, body, spirit, in your reality, in your relationships, in the circumstances you found yourself day to day. This is transforming all of that into the stuff of gold. It's really beautiful. Field of dreams, man. That energy coming in. Yes, I like it. I like it, Scorpio. Okay, let's see. What's at stake for you and your loved ones? Those who are going to be opening up this next chapter with you on the other side of that third initiatory gateway with that Pisces. Partial lunar eclipse. It's eclipsing the north node of Aries on the 17th of September. Let's see. What's at stake for you? What's at stake for you? Why do this work? Let's find out. Why is it important? Why is it important for you and your loved ones moving forward into this next chapter? Why is it important? Ooh. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Interesting. I like it. Okay. Because currently, with this coming in the crossing position, yeah, it's wild, right? Because that Knight of Swords came out about just like cutting the brush from your path to open the road. That's what's at stake. It's sort of like where you're at right now, or your current position and the defensiveness or whatever you're holding the line on here. It's actually keeping you attached to this cycle. The ending hasn't really come to completion yet. This can at some point have like almost a get back kind of energy, or the desire to see something made even, right? Even that, if you're feeling that, that might be something that you're picking up on too. It's a need to transmute the energy. It likely is, because what you're seeing mirrored in the outer world, that's what you're seeing reflected in your relationships, okay? But you're experiencing it as well, which is why you're seeing it in your relationships. So if you got those feelings like, I just want to see them get their just due, you know, it can be something that tethers you to this energy, and it doesn't allow the cycle to close. Okay. So this is what's at stake. Staying in this cycle. I don't think you want to stay in this position where you feel like you can't trust people, or you always have to be on your guard because you don't know what's going to come at you next, and where you feel like you're always ending up, you know, getting cheated out of your just due, or done wrong on some level, or betrayed. Okay. It's time to really leave that behind, because you're meant to rush forward quite rapidly, actually, and see a lot of progress. But the problem is you're still too corded into these other energies here. Yeah, you need to take this action. There's a lot of transformation that wants to come into your life in the fall. Is going to give you the power to act and to transform your life, but it all depends on how you use the energy. You can use this Ace of Wands here to continue to hold on to it in the Nine of Wands by not letting, you know, letting down your defenses and not dropping the burden. You can use this Ace of Wands to add it to the Nine of Wands and make it the Ten of Wands where you feel weighed down. Or you can use this Ace of Wands here to actually allow yourself to activate that new beginning in your life by letting go of this position, releasing this post, working with Tonglen, transmuting the energy. All right. Really interesting message. What's at stake for the new world that Scorpio wants to bring into being? What's at stake for the new world? And out there, that spider is actively like weaving the threads. You're heading into a real creative cycle. If you had falling out in some of your networks or groups of people, your social circle, anything like that, I see you forming new connections that are also creatively minded people you really resonate with, people who are on the same track as you. You're going to find these connections really rewarding, and it's going to be very different from what you've been used to. You're going to see very clearly that you really are who you hang out with. And look, this will be a karmic balancing of its own as well. Look at all the karmic balance coming through for you. Justice. Yeah. I'm telling you, there's something you still need to balance out here. It is severely out of balance. There is something that does need to be cleared up. Okay. You're not meant to stay here continually juggling this. You know, you're not. It's like pay the toll and move forward freely. So you're not in this place where, you know, you're constantly trying to, you know, address everybody else's concerns, keep everybody else happy, put out this fire, put out that fire, try to make ends meet. I mean, that ends up fracturing your energy as well. You can stay here as long as you want. This can run through many cycles if you stay hung up here, okay? You can't do this. You need to drop the juggling act. You need to get decisive. And I feel like for you, it's really very cut and dry, which is why I felt called to work with this tarot, because, you know, you see here in the Justice card, that's interesting because I wanted to bring her out again. Let's look at this. Where's that High Priestess? Okay. You see here, this is kind of where you're at right now. Okay. You got, you know, the two sides, shadow, light, and you're in the center. And so it's kind of keeping you in that polarized position. But do you see what we got here? We see you just aligning with the light building phase, bringing your creative energy forward, finding the balance, knowing what really is in alignment with your heart. And all the shadow is behind you when we look at it from the perspective of the Justice. Your truth is informed by the shadow. What you're creating moving forward is informed by the shadow, but you're not living there. It's behind you. right now you're still at the crossroads with it. Do you see what I mean? There's something you need to balance out here. There's still something you need to close out. And I feel it's the emotional attachment to the wound. It's the emotional attachment to how you were done wrong. And so Tonglen is what's going to free you up from that, right? If you do this work, what's the cookie? What's the cookie for Scorpio? Scorpio does this work and balances out the scales of karma there and is able to rise on up. I see you doing it. I mean, it looks like it. You had that Empress energy. You have pre-Empress energy here with the 9 of Pentacles. Okay, so look at that. Okay, the cookie is the star, right? Follow it through. That's what fall season is about. It's about following it through. Continue to spiritually cleanse, continue to reflect, continue to release, continue to water, okay? Work with Tonglen to cleanse away the old energy, transmute the energies, and that thing that you've been wishing for, that happiness you've been hoping for. I see something coming in here to really fill your cup. You could be dealing with an Aquarius. It's possible you could be dealing with a Leo rising. Look at this, okay? So yes, this is being very decisive. I do see you finally drawing a line under the past and transmuting that energy. You're actually going to act on that truth. And this is what gives you freedom here. Okay, so you have a lot of Libra energy, Aquarian energy, Gemini energy. Pisces came in pretty strongly here. Okay. Your energy came in, of course. Also some Cancer energy too. Not so strong on the Cancer energy. More Pisces. Okay. All right. Let's see. What is the target? What is the target to aim for with that full moon in Pisces on the 17th? So by the time that Hunter's moon rolls around on October 17th, you can really hit the mark. Where should Scorpio set their sights? Look at that. It flipped up in the middle of the deck. That Ace of Wands. Take the action. And right behind it, look. The Lovers. Wow. That's powerful. This could be concerning a Gemini. Look at this. There's the Magician raising that wand. Okay, so you are balancing it out. You're moving into the light building phase here. You could be coming into alignment too with somebody that you have a real deep connection with. You might have a real deep spiritual connection with this person. And if you both are alchemists, if you both walk that path, there may have even been at one point a little workings between you that created complication in this situation. Okay, so you might be transmuting that too. It might have been a matter of a certain karmic cycle with that working had to play out before you would be free actually from the crossroads to be able to take action and initiate a new beginning in your life. But I see it happening. I also see you're going to choose to elevate into that north node. Okay, we got Aquarian energy there again. We also have Aries energy there, right? So yeah, this very well could be a karmic cycle you felt stuck in that's related to some kind of working, either a working that was done between you and another. This could even be something you did to sort of like solidify your relationship. You may have been in an agreement about it at the time, but you didn't realize how much it would keep you stuck in this cycle. This could have been a time when you were both throwing stuff at each other, I have to say. Okay. Whatever this is, though, it might have had to just sort of play out before you would be free. This karmic cycle's wrapped up. Okay. There's some strong action you're taking here. And it may even involve you, clearing something out with this character too. Now you both hold the power. I like how that's coming through. Look at this. Okay, see? Because we have the Magician raising the wand there. And the High Priestess didn't have a wand, though, right? And look, she's got her Ace of Wands now. I just heard mine's bigger than yours. Okay, I like this. This is good, okay? Yeah, I do feel like it's related to some kind of work that needs to be done, some kind of spiritual work. And for those of you that it does apply and you walk that path, it connects to spiritual work that was done, that there was just no other way around it. It just had to run its course, and you just had to learn the lessons that came along with it. I just heard you'll be more mindful of what you create in the future. Okay, interesting. And that goes for everybody in this situation, I heard. Okay, very interesting. Let me do a cut of the deck here for you just to cap it off and see what we got. We got the King of Cups there coming through, and look at that, the Ten of Cups. So I see you in this place of seeing the other side of the storm. There's some kind of fulfillment coming in here for you. There's really something that's going to pour into you here. I feel like you've been on a really long journey and there's been a lot of heaviness around it, okay? But something here is going to land you right in your heart, and it gives you the healing that you've been looking for. And it's something you can claim right now. It was 55:44 on the clock when I said that. I feel like this is something that you're claiming for yourself now. But the end result is going to be, and 55:55 on the clock, the end result is going to be, this opens your new chapter, and there is some kind of true fulfillment, some kind of wish fulfillment, some kind of sun that you've wanted to come in and warm up your life coming through again. This could even be something in relation to your sun. For some of you, it does have something to do with the family, okay? And transmuting something in the family that was really burdening you. There's something that's been transmuted that used to be a tie that bound you, and now you're stepping up into your own self-agency, your own empowerment here. And again, with this devil energy coming in here with the Ten of Pentacles, this is about you being able to really build for yourself. I do see transformation of your 10th house. Capricorn energy coming in there. Look where you have Capricorn placements in your chart. This may give you a clue. Look what's in your 10th house. This may give you a clue about what you are getting yourself free from. And I feel like this does totally transform the way others see you. It transforms your station in life. And I do feel like you elevate, okay? You do elevate. There's some kind of real material growth that's coming in here for you. And it looks really good. But I also think people are going to see the truth of who you are too. So I like this. It's one of those cases where you didn't have to speak the truth because you're like, oh, I'll show you. And the truth will be evident. And it's that truth that sets you and ultimately others free. Good work, Scorpio.